It looks like the Boston Red Sox are going to be without their young stud outfielder for the rest of the season. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and some really unfortunate news out of the Red Sox organization yesterday. Yesterday, it was announced to the public that Jarren Duran will not only be missing the rest of the 2023 season, but it will be because of season-ending surgery. Now, obviously, this is going to have a big impact on the 2023 team, and before you guys start going around saying, who cares, there's only a month left, what does it matter? It's going to have some big implications on the 2023 team, but it's also going to have some big implications on the 2024 Red Sox as well. So yes, this surgery is coming at the very end of the year, but it's still going to have a big impact on the Boston Red Sox as a whole. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down exactly what happened to Jarren Duran, what the surgery looks like, what the recovery time looks like, what this means for Duran, what this means for the Red Sox, both for the rest of the 2023 season and beyond, because there are going to be implications that are going to affect the 2024 Red Sox as well. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so there were actually a couple of different announcements regarding Jarren Duran's injury yesterday. The first was that he definitely does have turf toe. That's what his diagnosis was. The other was that obviously the bigger part of this was that to fix this turf toe, Jarren Duran was going to need season-ending surgery. Now, for those of you who may not remember, Jarren Duran was actually injured on August 20th. Initially, it was thought that he was injured on a swing against the New York Yankees and that swing sort of messed up his foot, but it actually ended up happening when Jarren Duran tried to scale the wall at Yankee Stadium to rob Gleyber Torres of a home run in the 6th inning. And now, in terms of what the actual severity of the turf toe is, we didn't get a legitimate reason why he needed surgery, but in order to get surgery for turf toe, it's one of two things. He either tore the muscle completely between his big toe and his foot, or he dislocated the bone between his big toe and his foot, right? Either way, it's a pretty severe injury, and obviously it's going to end his season. Now, in terms of what this means in terms of recovery time, it's a pretty wide margin, to be honest with you. There were a bunch of different answers on a bunch of different websites. It ranged anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks all the way up to 6 months, which wouldn't have Jarren Duran resuming baseball activities until basically spring training of 2024, which would be a really long time to go with recovering and not being able to play baseball activities. Now, the good news here is that that's sort of worst case scenario. That rarely happens, and that's in the most severe of cases. In terms of surgery, most times you're looking at a window of between 6 and 8 weeks. So you're probably looking at 2 months with Jarren Duran off his feet, which is a good thing, right? It means that he's probably going to be ready to go for the beginning of the season, and he's probably going to be able to get himself and build himself back up before spring training begins in 2024. But there is that sort of worst case scenario snuck in there as well, which could mean that Jarren Duran isn't ready to go immediately in the beginning of 2024 because he's got to ramp himself up from this injury in spring training. So there are a couple different scenarios in terms of his actual timeline before he gets back to real baseball activities, but it's looking like he's getting this surgery now so he can get ready for the beginning of 2024, which is a pretty good thing in my opinion. Now, obviously, losing Jarren Duran is a pretty big blow to the 2023 Boston Red Sox. Not that it matters a whole lot in terms of the playoff picture because of what happened in these last 2 games with the Houston Astros that we will definitely be talking about tomorrow, but either way, that loss is going to make the Red Sox a little less entertaining over the last month of the season, and it's definitely going to be a big hit to the Red Sox lineup. Jarren Duran was one of the Red Sox best players in 2023. We talked about it a little already, but even with him going down and even with him coming up later than most people on this Red Sox team, he was an integral part of this lineup. He had the 5th highest OPS plus at 120 on the team. He had the 4th highest on base percentage at 346 on the team. He is still tied for the highest average on the team at 295. He had the most stolen bases by a mile. He was successful in 24 out of 26 stolen base attempts. The next closest person is Masataka Yoshida somehow with 8, but Jarren Duran was blowing that out of the water by a mile, and he still has the most doubles steals on the team with 34. Jarren Duran went from not being able to crack the opening day roster to one of the most important pieces of the Red Sox 2023 team in the span of 102 games. So yeah, despite the fact that the Red Sox playoff odds don't look great right now, not being able to see him for the rest of the season and not being able to finish out his season with the Boston Red Sox is clearly a big blow to this team. The other big reason why you should care about this injury despite the Red Sox standings right now is the fact that Jarren Duran had been open about struggling with mental health last year, right? He talked about the fact that he struggled really hard mentally at the major league level with imposter syndrome and depression and stuff like that. Well, over the last couple of weeks, he had mentioned on his Instagram story that he was starting to slip back into that sort of mind space, right? And with this injury, my fear is that this is going to have Jarren Duran slip further into that headspace. In my opinion, right, that matters way more than losing Duran on the field. Being able to get himself out of that mental headspace is got to be a bit more difficult now that you don't have the ability to get back out there and play the game that you love. And to me, that's the most concerning part of this injury. As a human being, I would hate to see Jarren Duran slip into that headspace over this offseason, and with him not being able to finish the season, I really hope that that mental headspace doesn't get worse. I hope he takes this time and time off his feet and time away from the field to really get himself back to a good place mentally, but that's definitely something to worry about with this injury with Jarren Duran, and it's something every one of you should care about if you are Red Sox fans, right? The mental health of your players is extremely important. It's one of the most important aspects of life, not only just in baseball. So to see this happen to someone who is already struggling with his mental health is something that's really scary to me, and again, I hope he's able to take this time off of his feet and really get himself back into a good mental headspace. So the sort of key takeaways from the season-ending surgery from Jarren Duran is, one, obviously he's going to be out for the rest of the year, right? Two, it's going to have a major impact on how the Red Sox perform for the last month of the season, and three, it's going to affect Jarren Duran mentally, and my hope is that this time off allows him to really regain that sort of mental strength that he came into 2023 with. But it's not all bad here, and there is a silver lining to Jarren Duran's injury that could not only have an impact on the 2023 Red Sox, but the 2024 Red Sox as well. The silver lining that I'm talking about is the fact that this injury to Jarren Duran gives the opportunity to some of these younger players to really get their feet wet at the major league level. I'm talking about guys like Ceddanne Rafaela and Wilyer Abreu, who are both now probably going to get a lot more playing time with Jarren Duran out for the rest of the season, which with the Red Sox in the position that they're in is going to be nice to watch over the last 29 games or so. Now, Ceddanne hasn't really had the opportunity to play many games at the major league level. Granted, he's only been up here for 2 games, but he does only have 1 plate appearance, and in that plate appearance, he did get his first major league hit. He's probably going to get some pretty decent playing time here towards the end of the year, and it'll be nice to see Ceddanne, a guy who is a top 3 prospect in the Red Sox system, a guy who was at one point a top 100 prospect in all of Major League Baseball, and I believe still is a top 100 prospect in Major League Baseball, according to MLB Pipeline, get his feet wet officially at the Major League level and see what he can do in his first stint at the Major Leagues. The other guy here is Wilyer Abreu, who's currently on paternity leave, but will be back fairly soon here, and he's going to be able to also get his feet wet at the Major League level. He's already kind of doing that a little bit, and so far he's looked really impressive. His at-bats have looked really controlled. He has a really nice swing, and he puts a lot of charges into baseballs, so I'm really curious to see how he looks at the Major League level. Now, obviously, both of these guys are going to have really small sample sizes by the time this season ends, right? At the maximum they can have is about 29 to 30-ish games. They probably won't play every single game, so you're probably looking at 10, 15-ish games for both of these guys until the end of the season, but at the same time, too, it could give you a glimpse into some of the decisions that need to be made for the Red Sox regarding their position players over this offseason, right? Because right now, when you're looking at the outfield for the Boston Red Sox, you've got really 2 guys that you know are going to be in your starting lineup come opening day 2024, and that's Masataka Yoshida and Jarren Duran, which basically leaves 1 outfield spot for 4 different possible options going into 2024. You've got Adam Duvall, who's a free agent at the end of this year, but is hitting really well. You've got Alex Verdugo, who's been really great at certain points this season. He's been troubling at other points this season, and he's had issues off the field as well. And then you've got Ceddanne Rafaela and Wilyer Abreu. The question going into 2024 is, what direction do the Red Sox go? Do they stick kind of with the status quo and keep Alex Verdugo, have Ceddanne Rafaela and maybe Wilyer Abreu come up here and there as sort of 5th outfield options until one of them wins a starting spot? Or do they go Adam Duvall because of how well he's been producing at the plate for the Red Sox over these last couple of weeks? Or do they go full youth mode? Do they put their faith in, say, Don Rafaela or Wilyer Abreu going into 2024, and they trade Alex Verdugo and they let a Duvall walk and they go more youth oriented for the 2024 season? That's going to be a really big topic of this offseason. And with Jarren Duran going down, you're going to have the opportunity to maybe hopefully push yourself in one direction, right? If, say, Don Rafaela comes in here and he lights the world on fire and it looks like, okay, this dude can handle major league pitching, he can handle outfield for the Boston Red Sox, this is the direction we should go. Maybe it's Wilyer Abreu who comes in and over those 10-15 games left of the 2023 season, he really sets the world on fire and you're like, okay, maybe it's time to move on from Alex Verdugo and get some starting pitching for Alex Verdugo and then put Wilyer Abreu in the outfield starting in 2024. And obviously you're probably not going to get a full answer through the rest of this 2023 season, but it will at the bare minimum give you a glimpse of some of the possibilities going into 2024. I don't think we'll see a true candidate sort of rise up from this sort of pile of logjam of outfielders with the Boston Red Sox, but I think you could get a little bit of a clearer picture here. And to me, that could be a really interesting storyline to follow throughout the rest of the 2023 season, as well as something obviously we're going to follow as the offseason begins. So Jarren Duran going down is obviously a really, really unfortunate situation. I hope the best for him, but the silver lining is here is you could get some answers to what the Red Sox are planning on doing to start the 2024 season with their minor leaguers and with their major leaguers with the outfield situation that they have right now. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this Jarren Duran injury? What do you think about its impacts on the 2023 Red Sox as well as the 2024 Red Sox? Let me know what your thoughts are on Durans injury. Let me know what your thoughts are on the rest of 2024 for the Red Sox outfield. What do you think about, say, Don getting more playing time, Wilyer Abreu getting more playing time, and overall, initially, before the 2024 offseason begins, what are your thoughts on what the Red Sox should do going into next year concerning their outfield positions? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox injury and its subsequent effects in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.